god, like, men don't know women at all. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Hope everyone is doing okay. This week I'm going to be talking about unrealistic representations of women in TV and movies. So I'm going to be talking about just random things that are done to women or happen to women in movies that are just so unrealistic and are just not representative of real life at all, and you're just like, eye roll. So I'm going to start talking about some stats first of all as to, you know, why I think this might be occurring, and then I'm going to be giving some examples of just silly things that happen in movies. So let's get started. So I think the first reason why I think kind of unrealistic things happen to women in movies is because so many movies are not made by women. So many movies and TV shows or whatever are made by men who simply don't have a clue what women do on a daily basis, or like what women do in like, everyday situations. So these crazy things happen. So I have some stats. They're from a US organization called Women in Hollywood, which basically kind of advocates for like gender equality and, you know, like media and TV and movies and stuff. So the stats are, I have them here in front of me, of the top 100 grossing films of 2019, women represented 12% of directors, 20% of writers, 2% of cinematographers, 26% of producers, 19% of executive producers, and 23% of editors. So that is so low. So obviously I'm not an expert in how movies are made or how TVs are made, so I'm not exactly sure kind of who's responsible for like all these weird things happening to women in movies. But when you have numbers as low as those, women are not represented. Weird things are bound to be done to women in movies when there are no women involved in the decision making. So I think that's kind of just one reason to kind of shed light on why these things might be occurring. So that needs to change, you guys. So now let's get started on just the really weird examples of things that happen. So the first one I want to talk about is makeup. So things like waking up with a full face of makeup on, that's perfect. No one does that. Going to sleep with a full face of makeup on, oh my god, like who made that a thing? Who said that? Having a full face of makeup on and perfect in like a war situation, or like fighting zombies, or like it's the end of the world, you're going on a desert island and have like perfect full face of makeup. Like it's just so unrealistic. Like there are so many examples, and I'm so conscious of it when I watch movies and stuff now, and I'm like, could they not have just like, I get that you like need to look good or whatever, but like even do like really natural makeup. Like sometimes they'll have like perfect eyeliner and I'm like, you're on a desert island, why is your eyeliner perfect? Like, this is insane. Like it actually does them a disservice because it makes me not trust the movie. Then I'm like, well, if this is so unrealistic, like what else if your movie does not make sense? Like, I mean, then like looking for plot holes, and it just doesn't make sense. Like it's so silly. And also one of the reasons why that bothers me is like, one, it kind of like might show women that like, oh yeah, you should wear your makeup going to bed. No, you shouldn't. It's so bad for you. Like no. Or that like you need to look pretty all the time. It's not just that it's, you know, silly and unrealistic. It actually like gives off a really bad representation of women. That's like, okay, you need to look pretty all the time. Like we know that's like, we get that from so many places. Like, no, we don't need to look pretty all the time. And that kind of tells men then that like your women should look, you know, wake up looking amazing. Like, oh my god. And then like we're like punished if we don't. So it's really bad for everyone. Like, can we stop doing that, please? The second thing is having your hair down. When you're doing things you absolutely would not have your hair down for. So things like playing sports in movies, superheroes. Oh my god, if you were fighting the world, your hair would not be down. It would be in a ponytail, it would be in a plait, it would be tied back off your face, it would not be down. Like it's insane to me. I'm like, the wind is blowing and your hair is going everywhere and you can't see, like so unrealistic. It happens so often. So yeah, that is not a good look. Number 3, wearing heels. Like wearing heels in situations that you just would not wear heels in. One of the basic examples recently is Jurassic World, and I think they got like in so much shit for it because everyone was just like, why is she wearing heels? She's running away from dinosaurs. That this is insane. But yeah, in so many situations I'm just like, that's not comfortable. It's not realistic for you to be going around all day in like full-on stilettos. I would love to meet the women who actually do this. Like it's insane. Number 4 is like so many scenes, so many movies and TV shows where women just sit around talking about men and boyfriends like the entire time. Obviously we talk about boys and stuff, but like not all day. Like it's insane. 1, it's just so not true, but like 2, it implies that like our lives revolve around men, which just isn't true. And then I think a lot of times you see it in like workplaces and stuff, and it implies that women have no contribution to make to the workplace, or that like our, you know, the contribution we make is like silly and stuff, and that like we're not actually doing any work, and that like all we're talking about is boys. And it's like, it's just so not true. We're actually doing work all day long. Like no one is sitting around talking about boys the whole time. Number 5, which is another really interesting one, which I just think is, it's so true when you think about it, that like glasses hide our beauty or something, or that like you're ugly duckling with the glasses on and then you take them off and then you're beautiful. I've seen it in so many movies, and again I'll pop in some examples, but it's so weird because like glasses just don't hide that much of your face. Like they don't make that much of a difference. But I think it's also really interesting because glasses are simultaneously used as like a, oh, you're a sexy nerd, type thing, you know? So it's like, in a way, it's like vilified, and like you're like, oh, you're ugly if you have glasses on, but then it's also like, oh, you're a sexy secretary or something if you have them on. Like it's so weird. So yeah, that's a really interesting one, and I think we should all look out for that the next time we're watching something. Number 6, which I think is hilarious, is like, say after like sex scenes or whatever, and women are in like the guy's house and they end up wearing his shirt. Like, can I please have a show of hands, who actually does that? Shirts are not that comfortable. They take ages to button up. Like, you're not, like, I'd love to know, I just really would love to know who actually does this. If anything, you're gonna put on a t-shirt because that's comfy, it's more baggy, it's like the material is nicer. Like, I love that, and like you see the shirt in so many things. I think that's one of the most prevalent ones, along with the wearing makeup days, the shirts after sex. I'm like, I would just really love to know who actually does that. It's so funny. And I wanted to pop in with that one as well. It's like wearing the sheets after sex, like, you know, getting out of bed and like having the sheets over you and like walking around in the sheets. Again, who does that? Who does that? I don't know. Like, can someone tell me? I would love it if someone said, yeah, I did that, and I'd be like, grand, I'll leave it off, cool, we have proof. But like, I don't think anyone actually does that. Number 8, and this one is hilarious, wearing bras to bed. Wearing bras in bed. Again, I would love a show of hands for anyone who actually wears their bras in bed. Bras are so uncomfortable. I don't think anyone actually likes wearing them. We're all just kind of forced to wear them, and we think we should wear them. You're definitely not wearing them in bed. I mean, I remember, I know that a couple of my friends used to wear them when we were like teenagers or like younger, because I think people thought they had to or something. But like, I think now it's very kind of out there that like, you don't have to wear a bra to bed, not like you should be wearing a bra to bed, it's so uncomfortable, like, no. So yeah, that's another one that's hilarious, and again, you'll see it if you kind of look out for it. No one does that. Who does that? Nobody. Oh my god, it's just like men don't know women at all. I would love to know who's in charge of these decisions. Number 9, which is so interesting as well, is like, apparently fat women in movies, like, they're not fat at all. Like, and this isn't necessarily like the other ones where it's like, oh, they look a certain way or whatever. That's kind of more how it's portrayed. Like, and some kind of really big examples are Bridget Jones. Like, she's literally portrayed as this like obese woman, and like, she's not at all. She like says, like, I can't remember now, but she says her amount of like pounds at the start of the movie, and it's like, it's not, and even just looking at her, she's not fat at all. Like, it's insane. And I think like, how, and like, I grew up believing that like that was fat, and now I look at the movie and I'm like, oh my god, that's not fat at all. That's like me. That's what, like, how, like, as well as just being funny and like outrageous, it's so dangerous, and it's just so bad for younger us to be growing up listening to that and watching that, and it's just so unrealistic, and it makes me so sad, and just, yeah, insane. Another example of that is Devil Wears Prada. I think we probably all have seen these 2 movies actually, but when, you know, Andy and like your man, you know, he's like, oh yeah, like, you know, size 2 is the new 0, or size 4 is the new 2 or whatever, and she's like, I'm a size 6, and he's like, which is the new 14, like implying that being a size 6, which is a UK size 8, that like implying that that's like morbidly obese. Like, oh, that's insane. And like, I'm sure that as well was probably just representative of like the fashion industry, which is fair because that is probably accurately representing how weight is treated in that industry, but still insane. Yeah, so like crazy. And then finally, number 10, which again is hilarious, is that women never seem to have body hair, if and when they should. Obviously, as we all know, it grows naturally on our bodies, nothing to be shamed for, it is perfectly fine. But there are like certain situations where it's like, you definitely, if this was real life, wouldn't have body hair. So like a couple of examples are like in period dramas. So from like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago when women didn't shave yet, you know, like most of that was because, you know, women were always covered up. So there was like no skin on show anyway, but also just like razors weren't a thing. And as, you know, most of us know, you know, shaving for women was only introduced in the early 20th century because shaving companies were like, yeah, we need to make more money. So let's like make it shameful for women to have hair, and let's make them buy razors, like, rah. So yeah, so like in period dramas with they like definitely should not have hair and they're all perfectly shaped. It's like, that's so not realistic, like what's going on? And again, just makes you look for other plot holes. You're like, this, like someone did not care about this. Or again, you know, being trapped on a desert island and you haven't had, you know, a razor for 6 months, like, and you're perfectly hairless. Like, no, you're not. Like, and it's almost just like, oh, is having hair like that shameful that like, you know, even on a desert island we can't have it be realistic and have body hair? Like, it's insane. And again, you know, like once you notice one of these things, you'll notice all of them. It's so interesting. So that is my list of 10 things that are so unrealistic about TVs and movies. And I suppose one thing I wanted to say as well is, like, you know, I don't want this to be a thing where we, you know, blame the women who were in the movies because to be honest, they're just doing what they're being told. They're doing what they're being paid to do, and you know, unless you're like super famous and have loads of influence, you're maybe not going to feel powerful enough to be like, actually no, I don't really want to, you know, wear makeup waking up first thing in the morning, or have my hair perfect waking up first thing in the morning, or, you know, I think I should have body hair in that situation. Like you're kind of going to do what you're being told to do, and that's totally fair enough. The onus for this is on the director and, you know, the costume people and anyone involved who has a say in this. And I think as well, you know, if we just get more women into these roles and into, you know, media and TV and movie making, then a lot of these problems would go away and we would be able to just be realistic and live our lives out on the big screen. So yes, that is this week's video. Thank you for watching. Hope you all learned something. Would love it if you like my page or subscribe to my channel or comment or give a thumbs up or whatever. Would love it if you would support the video if you enjoyed it. So yeah, see you in the next one. Bye!